Hey guys, welcome from San Francisco International Airport. I'm sitting here in kind of a gathering spot just through TSA behind me, about to go get some coffee, story of my life. But I wanted to talk to you, so listen on in. 1 Kings chapter 11 today.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
Hey friends, I'm here at the San Francisco International Airport, and it is later in the evening. So by the time you'll see it, it'll be in the morning. But I wanted to greet you from San Francisco. Just flew over the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge and wanted to talk to you a bit about 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 23, verses 26 through 43. And as you'll recall, I'm holding my phone here with my outstretched arms, so if I get tired, I'm going to switch arms. But as you know, we've been talking about Solomon and the ugly part of his reign, the last few years of his reign. And while he's still building and still fortifying and still doing some external things that have the appearance of success, God has judged him. And God has told Solomon, I am going to divide your kingdom. You have had a divided heart toward me. I will divide your kingdom. I will reserve a vestige of your kingdom, the southern kingdom. It would be known as Judah from then on. That will be ruled by your offspring, specifically the offspring of David. But the northern kingdom, the larger swath, the 10 northern tribes, will now be taken away from you. So there are consequences to sin, and specifically to disloyalty, because that's what idolatry is. Idolatry at its core is disloyalty. And the essence of the sin is not so much what was being done, the worship of Ashtaroth, the worship of Chemosh, the worship of Molech, as bad as that is, but it's the more heinous sin of rejecting God. So think about that in your own life. Whatever it is that you're pursuing is really a rejection of something you're not pursuing, a wholehearted fellowship of the Lord himself. So we talked a little bit yesterday about the way that God had raised up these two other foreign kings, a man by the name of Rezon, a man by the name of Hadad. And in both situations, these were kings that were raised up in very humble situations, where it seemed as if they were totally defeated, and yet they came back to power. God stirred them up, and they became a great nettlesome enemy to Solomon. But God does something different in this third case. He raises up not somebody from the outside of the kingdom, but somebody from the inside of the kingdom. And the irony is that the person he raises up, a man by the name of Jeroboam, is somebody whom Solomon trusts very much, somebody whom Solomon believes is very loyal to him. Now there's the irony, because Solomon has done some great things for the Lord, humanly speaking, but he has been disloyal. He's very talented, but he has been disloyal. And this man Jeroboam is somebody whom Solomon advances, but he ends up, at least from Solomon's perspective, being disloyal. So I think about, let me just read the verse for you. So we're in 1 Kings chapter 11. Got my TSA guys walking by me here. 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zerida, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And then the rest of the chapter, and I'm going to tell you the story, the rest of the chapter tells the story of how God lifted up Jeroboam and how Jeroboam became the replacement for Solomon in the divided kingdom that was the northern kingdom. So Jeroboam, not to be confused with Rehoboam. Rehoboam was the son of Solomon, the physical son of Solomon. Jeroboam, even though their names sound the same, they're not related at all. So who is Jeroboam? Well, the Bible says that Jeroboam is a worker for Solomon. In fact, in this very passage, it says that Solomon was busy repairing some fortified cities, and specifically repairing the breaches of the city of David. So that would be the capital. And so he's doing some work, and he notices as he's doing this work that there is one worker that is outshining the rest of them, and that worker's name is Jeroboam. So Jeroboam is showing himself strong. He's a mighty man of valor, the Bible says. Solomon recognizes this. And so to reward hard work, to reward the ambition of this young man, Solomon advances him. In fact, he makes him over the entire house of Joseph. So that would be the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. The widest swath of geography of land in Solomon's kingdom, Jeroboam was now leading. So far, so good. It seems as if Solomon's identified a great up-and-coming man. By the way, a man that comes from humble circumstances, like Hadad did, like Rezon did. What God is showing Solomon is, I don't need wealth, I don't need prosperity, I don't need connections, I don't need all the things that would accrue to human success. You know, I called your dad out of the sheepcote. I can raise up whomever I will. I don't need pedigree. Solomon, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but Jeroboam was the son of a widow woman. So he's a nobody from nowhere, and yet God's going to make him somebody. And here's the way it happened. One day, Jeroboam was walking out of Jerusalem, because that's where the work was, and a prophet by the name of Ahijah, the Shilonite, so he was from Shiloh, had a brand new garment on. So a new garment back in those days was very, very valuable. So this prophet had this new garment, and he met Jeroboam. God sent him. His name was Ahijah. And Ahijah took off this robe, and he ripped it into 12 pieces. That's not a small task. And it would seem like a waste, but it would certainly get Jeroboam's attention. God has ways to cement his attention in our life, and that's what's happening here. And Ahijah gave 10 of those fragments of that garment to Jeroboam and kept 2 for himself. And basically Ahijah said, hey, God told me to tell you that you're going to be the next king over 10 tribes. So he has a promise from God. And here's what he said. The reason I'm doing this is because Solomon has disobeyed. He's led the people to serve false gods. So at the very beginning of his reign, even before he reigns, Jeroboam understands that the reason why Solomon has failed is because he's allowed the people to go into false worship. I want you to keep that in mind, because Jeroboam does the exact same thing. So Ahijah says, because of this idolatry, God's going to allow you to be the king over Israel, but God is going to allow Solomon's children to reign in Judah. So God still is honoring his promise to David. And that also should have encouraged Jeroboam to say, wow, even in spite of all this sin, God still is honoring his promise to David. And the reason why that's important is because Ahijah goes on to say to Jeroboam, now Jeroboam, if you will just serve me, if you'll just put me first, if you'll just lead the people to follow me, then I will bless you, just like I blessed David. And you'll be the king of the northern kingdom, Israel, and your sons will reign, and you'll have a legacy. Jeroboam, I'm giving you a great opportunity. Jeroboam's just listening. I mean, you talk about a rags to riches story. You talk about a great, great chance. Jeroboam's got it. I mean, this is an amazing, amazing chance for Jeroboam. Well, here's what happens. Solomon finds out about this. The news leaks out, and instead of Solomon accepting this as a consequence for his own sin, Solomon decides, I want to kill Jeroboam. So Jeroboam has to leave the country. So he flees to Egypt, and there he is protected by the Pharaoh, Shishak, in Egypt, and he's there until Solomon dies. And what happens in 1 Kings chapter 11 is Solomon, the chapter ends with the death of Solomon. And he was buried in the city of David. His son Rehoboam comes to reign. And now you have, for the first time in Israel, a divided kingdom. Now that divided kingdom is going to continue for 250 years until finally the Assyrians destroy the northern kingdom. Then another 100 plus years later, the southern kingdom itself will go into exile to Babylon. You talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Solomon, his life just ended ugly. A lot of people start well. Not a whole lot of people start well and finish well. And would to God that we would be those people that would learn from these bad examples and stay strong. Maybe you're an older person like me, pushing 60, and you just need to be reminded that we can never get to the place in our lives where we coast, where we feel as if we've arrived, because then that puts us in the proud, compromising, divided place of Solomon. I want to talk to you more about Jeroboam. His story is sad. Talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, his story is briefly good, but mostly ugly and bad. And we'll talk about that next episode. Lord willing, I'll be in Brisbane, Australia, talking to you next time. Until then, have a great day in the Lord. God bless you, my friends.